Okay, so this video is explaining this question that's on the notes. And what we're talking about here is we have this pedigree analysis that is drawn for us, and it's asking a few questions about it. So the first thing we want to look at is we want to identify, okay, we're talking about H, they're having hair on their mid-digit or not, if you read the question, and it's dominant. So if they have at least one big H, they're going to have hair on their mid-digit, and if they have two little H's, then they will not. And so this pedigree analysis, we want to be familiar with what's going on here. And so the circles are women, the squares are men. And it says in the question, if it's shaded in, then they have hair on their mid-digit. That is the dominant feature. So now what we need to do is figure out, okay, what's going on. So the first question is, we want to know the phenotypes of all the number 2s in each of the generation. Second question is 4 and 5 in generation 2. And then the third question is, if number 8 had a baby with a recessive female, can he have recessive kids? So when I look at a pedigree, the first thing I want to do is look at, okay, there are some people who I know their genotype. And remember, this didn't say anything about it being a sex-linked trait or anything like that. So immediately I'm going to know the recessive, right? Because they look recessive. Anybody who looks dominant, they could be homozygous or heterozygous, I don't know. But anybody who looks recessive, I already know their genotype. So I'm going to go ahead and fill those ones in for myself. So I'm going to put on this guy right here. I know he is little h, little h. Same with this one, this one. So those are the ones that I know immediately by looking at them. Okay? And then I'm going to look and I'm going to say, okay, everybody that has a shaded in, I know they have at least one big H. So I'm going to go ahead and put that with all of them. I don't know what the other one is, but I'm just putting what I know here. Because sometimes that helps you figure out other things. Okay? So if this one has a big H and this one has a big H, but they have a kid with two little H's, immediately I know that each one of these also has to have a little h, because they have to be able to have this kid, right? Okay. So, but just knowing that doesn't tell me about this kid, and it doesn't tell me about this kid, right? So I'm going to look a little bit further down here, and I'm going to say, okay, these two had a kid with little h, right? So that kid got one little h from mom, and he had to get the other, or she had to get the other little h from dad. So I know this guys, right? In addition, I know that these kids from these parents each have one big H, but they had to get an H from mom, and all mom has to give are little h's. So I can figure those guys out. Now we're over to these ones, and this is a little bit more difficult. So over here with these ones, we don't know what's going on. Now, immediately, the reason I put the question like this is because you want to say, oh, well, clearly these are big H, because all, these are clearly all dominant genes. But remember, we talked about there's those families who have like 6 daughters or whatever, and each time it's a 50% chance. It's not like, okay, you have one kid who's a boy, so that means for sure the next kid is going to be a girl. That's not how it works. So we've answered all the number 2s, that guy, and that guy. 4 and 5 in generation 2. Well, we don't know, right? So this is why I wanted you to think about this, okay? We don't know. So we know that they are H something, right? And they could be big or little. And then in generation 8, it's saying if this one marry, or they don't have to get married to have kids. This one has children with this person. Could they have a recessive child? So remember, this guy, we don't know, right? Number 8, he could be this, or he could be this, right? And if he's this, that means one of his parents had a little h. If he's this, that means both of his parents were dominant on both alleles. So, because we would know the person he's having a baby with is like that. So, he could, if he is heterozygous, which would mean at least one, I mean it could be both, one of his parents would have to be. So if both of his parents are homozygous, there is no way that he could have a kid with, that he would have a recessive looking kid. If both of his parents are big H, then he has to be big H, right? And he couldn't have a child who has a little h from him. So this is what I want you guys to be thinking about when you do this type of question.